Is it a struggle? Yes, we have to realize our strengths and our weaknesses. And I'm your host, Janice, helping others to reach their goals. Today's topic, this is actually part 2. We did a topic on aging out of foster care. Now we're going to talk about life after foster care. What happens afterwards and solutions that can help students that are that 18 to 24 after foster care when the foster care system, the foster care parents, and maybe even family are no longer around or being supportive. What can they do to make their lives successful? Today, we have a guest again. We have Eva Williams. She is a life coach at the Excel Center in Hammond, Indiana. She's going to talk to us based on her experience with working with young adults and also being a former foster care child that was actually aged out also. So she has personal experience also to bring to this conversation today. Welcome, Eva, to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again. I'm excited about the topic and exposing what's going on in the system, how we can, bring solutions to support. So I'm ready.
Yes, nice to see you again. And yeah, I'm ready for this because this is really a topic that being a former foster care myself person, I know what that experience is, and I know there's not a lot of solutions out there to help you. I hate to say it. Once you become adult, people act like adult. You're on your own.
Right.
And might be help when you're a kid, and you still, and we're not going to talk about that today. There's still need more reform in foster care in general, even for kids under 18. But a lot of people, when you turn 18, bye-bye, you're on your own. And It's like, no, we still need that nurturing help. And when you're in foster care aging out, that typically means you don't have family.
Right.
Or not a big support system that you need.
Right.
So, briefly, we're going to just say, talk about what happened to you after you left foster care of aging out.
Okay. So I'm going to give you my story going off to college. When I went off to college, I didn't have like anything, no one bought me anything. I had a job, so I bought I heard you needed shower, things for your shower and some flip-flops for the shower. And I didn't have a lot of money to buy comforters and things like that. So I took the cover that was on my bed, those old school covers with the balls on it. I got that. I had one of those, and then I had a pillow that was flat. I didn't understand the etiquette of a brand new pillow that's fluffy that you go to school with. So I had this flat pillow. My clothes were in a garbage bag. So I rode down to Tennessee because I went to Tennessee State Tigers, and I went with my cousin who was already there, and I rode in the back of a truck between their luggage, their refrigerators. They had to put the seat down because all of us were going back. So I rode there for like 8 hours between, just stuff. I just laid down in the back.
Now, foster care, the system, they don't give you anything or give you support. Like even applying for colleges costs money. Did they give you any support at all?
Well, they didn't, because remember when I was 16 years old, I asked to leave to move with my mom. So I wasn't technically a ward of the state anymore, but I was at home with my mentally ill mom.
Now, your sisters were also fostered out, correct?
Correct.
Did they get assistance at all?
No, it's a little different now, but for us, we didn't get it.
Nothing. So basically, you have to kind of come up with the money for applying, or maybe they might have some type of waiver for you for the application fees, but no support of here's some clothes, here's some books, here's even toothpaste you need.
No,
nothing.
The only thing we had was, if you were a ward of the state during that time, was you got more money because you were an independent student, because you didn't have a dependent parent to, base your income on. So
Okay, you're doing financial aid.
correct, financial
Okay,
aid. We
right.
got more loans.
Okay. Loans. Yeah, that's what we all need is more loans. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
That'll set us up really well. So
right. Okay. So
um,
you're 18 now at college on your own. You scraped up whatever you could, get a ride there.
yeah,
And
my
how do you
roommate.
fit in with the experience that you had with a traumatic childhood? How do you blend in with someone who may have
I
had this?
really didn't. I really didn't. My roommate, I think she thought that I was a homeless person moving in her room because I had a
Oh,
garbage bag.
I shouldn't laugh because I did the garbage bag before, so I
Laugh
know.
at it now. But you know, even during that time, I wasn't like devastated. I was just happy I had made it out and I was at
Right.
school and I was unpacking my garbage, my clothes from the garbage. And she was looking at me like, oh my goodness. She was the only child, had this big plush blanket and, you know, it was plush rug by her feet. And I put my cover on a bed with my flat pillow with no pillowcase. She was like, I made
But
my
that
bed
didn't
up.
discourage you. That didn't
Oh,
discourage you at all.
no, I
Did
was
you
just
have faith
happy.
in God that you were going to make it?
Well, you know, I just didn't know. In that moment, I just didn't know. I was just happy I was there and I was just trying to figure it out. I was lost, but I was happy my cousin was there. So I had someone that could, like, hey, you know, you should go to the Bursar office and financial aid. So that's what I did. I have a really good story with my first encounter from hearing from God with that. Because once I got there, unpacked, I went to Bursar, went to financial aid, you know, just to make sure, you
Mhm.
know, everything was paid. And
Mhm.
they told me that I had a $1,500 balance.
Ooh,
And they said, you have exhausted all your loans. There's no more financial aid. You just have to pay that. And I was like, I don't have $1,500. I had $8 in my pocket.
yeah.
And I was like, I don't have it. And I was like, well, then you can't register for class. And so now I'm walking back to my dorm room like a zombie, like, what do I do? How do I go
What do you
home?
do?
What home? You know, what am
Right.
like,
You
what am
you have nothing to go back to. You have everything there.
yes,
You have to be there and stay there. That's
exactly,
it. No turning
exactly.
back. Right.
Yeah. So I went to my room and I was just crying and I was like, God, why would you allow me to come here and just be lost? And I have nowhere to go. I don't have any money. What do I supposed to do? And that was the first time I heard him and he said, go back. And I was like, go back. This lady was so mean, like she hated her job. And she was like, you have to go. She was not nice at all. You know, all these students in here. And I was like, I don't know, want to go back. The lady said this. And then I realized I'm talking back and forth to God right now. So let me go back and see if this is real or I'm going crazy. So I went back to the Bursar and I told him, I said, look, and I was trying not to get the same lady I had before. I was trying to go to the other line and everything. And I ended up with the same lady. And I was like, oh gosh. So I told her, I said, look, I just met with you. I don't have this money. And she was like, well, what do you want me to do? And I said, I don't know, but I need something. I'm an independent student. I'm a ward of state. This is my story. I don't have anything. I have to get in here. So
Right.
she rolled her eyes at me and she just started typing. And she said, you owe $8.
Wow. The $8 you had in your pocket.
I was like, I have that. Exactly.
Blessing from God, the $8. Yes. Wow.
I was like, okay, because I had a dorm room, I had the cafeteria, and you know, so
God supplied all your needs, a roof, food, shelter, air, and a
yep,
blessing, and you got it.
yep. And I found a job after that, so I had to work full time. So a lot of people don't realize. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, were there any also in college because of being away
Mhm.
that counseling or any social groups or anything that would support you because you feel, I don't know if people understand, you feel different. A
Mhm.
lot of people feel different for a ton of reasons, but you feel different when you've been in foster care when you're alone.
Mhm. Yeah.
You've been
Um,
different when you've had that PTSD. You just feel different.
yeah. You don't feel you belong,
No.
right? I didn't understand a lot. I had a girl across the street who was across the hallway and was just crying and looking out the window. And I was like, what are you crying about? I talked about her parents had just left, and she was just a boo-hoo. And I'm like, are they going to die? Are you not going to see them again? Why are you crying like that? But I didn't understand the bind of a parent.
Yeah.
From my perception, only thing I saw was I survived, you
Right.
know? So I wasn't a part of any support groups. I didn't know of any support groups. I
Mhm.
wasn't looking for any either. For me, I had made it out and I was just fine. I didn't think I had any issues and I had survived. So,
I can see, and I didn't look at that point of view when you said the other girl was crying about her parents leaving. It's
mhm,
that whole dynamic of going through childhood trauma or not having a deep family connection or God connection that you're wondering, like, she's crying about family, huh?
yeah.
And you don't have a connection, like missing mom. How is that, huh? Yeah,
That's
it's
like, are they going to die? What are you crying about?
right. So at this point, you're getting acclimated at school, blessing from God with that $8, which God shows you don't need money with God. He's like, you didn't
Right.
need, he covered everything else.
Mhm.
And now finding social, there's no connections for social groups.
Right.
Now, is that what is inspiring you for the next project you're working on?
It is. It was birthed out of my pain, birthed out of the necessities that I needed. Um, and I just remember on those breaks and those holidays, I would say, okay, everyone was excited. They was homesick while they were there. They wanted to go home. They were talking to their parents every single
Right.
day. And on breaks, they were going home. But for me, I was trying to figure out where was I going. My mom didn't even live in the last house she was in. She was
Yeah,
in a whole different city.
you're
I
right.
didn't know where I was going. I was going home with my cousin, with my roommate, with my friends. I had to figure out every break where I was going.
When I finished my first semester freshman year, and I was brought back to my parents, so I didn't age out of foster care. I went back as a teen to my parents, but my parents were having financial issues, still the emotional violence issues in my household. Went to college, came home, was going to come home for that Christmas break, that first Christmas break, and I couldn't get a hold of any family. And I'm sitting there in college, like everyone's packing up. I'm like, I don't even know if I have a home to go to. And the president of the college, I went to a college that actually just closed, McMurray College in Jacksonville, Illinois. The president of the college actually offered for me, because they knew my situation of basically I was homeless, not having anyone to go and spend the holiday with. I couldn't get a hold of my parents. They offered for me to stay with them. And I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. Let me at least go home and see if I can find someone. I actually went home to an empty house. My parents moved. I'm homeless. My bag sitting in the snow. Chicago, it snows during that Christmas holiday,
Right.
especially when you got no place to go, and just downright homeless. And I think of these students that once they age out, they're homeless. A lot, 20% are homeless. Here I am in college, so we're not completely homeless. We
Right.
have a bed, we have food, but those times of years for college students and being a foster student or out of foster care, you're homeless.
Correct.
Where do
Correct.
you go?
Yeah. You're trying to survive, and that survival mentality go on and on with you. Because for me, I'm trying to survive my childhood all the way to my teenage years, all the way through college. Then you get married and you don't realize how much all those things have stuck with you, and you have a survival mentality. I just have to survive.
Right. It's
So
it.
it's so
I have to
much.
survive.
Mhm. Yeah,
I have to survive. Yeah.
in every area. So my organization was
Hmm.
birthed out of all of this. It's targeted. I spoke at a DCS. It was more of a collaborative care where kids were aging out of the system and they were graduating from high school. And I
And
was
your organization is called My Sister's Keeper and
Mu Sigma Kappa, correct? My
Sorority.
sister's
Okay.
keeper, sorority.
My Sister's Keeper.
Yeah. Yes. And it was birthed out of the reason why I think that I was able to get through is my sisters, my siblings, my brothers, my siblings. We stuck hard for each other.
Okay.
We got Morris. We got almost graduated out of college because all of us were trying to survive while we were in college. So as we began to get older and get more independent, we would reach down and help each other.
Mhm.
Um, and with understanding what the needs are at that during this time between 16 and 24, I
Mhm.
just know that we were wanting to welcome these young ladies into our sisterhood. We wanted to welcome into our family, where we understand where you're going, what you're going through. We understand about emotional, physical abuse. We understand about molestation. We understand about all the
Right.
trauma of neglect and rejection and all of that. I have a sister who's in education as well, and she created curriculum for um, growth mindset. And I think that is the key thing.
Mhm. So the curriculum is educational curriculum, but it's not like ABC. It's actually more of psychology, like you said, emotional, social, getting yourself together
Yeah, how you
after
think,
trauma.
how you present. We look at things so much differently than
Right.
someone who's been in a healthy environment. Just the
Right.
same as the example of the girl crying over her parents and
Mhm.
myself, who don't even understand the bond of a parent. Why are
Right.
you even crying? Are they dying? Like, what's happening here?
Right.
You know, your perception is totally different. You have made laws throughout your life to
Mhm.
protect you. And so now you have a fixed mindset. All of your actions are built on that one law
Mhm.
from your trauma.
Right.
So
And I want to
now,
explain that really quick. The people are wondering what the law and what you're referring to is just basically rules we set for ourselves so we don't get ourselves in that situation,
correct,
such as for me being homeless. I'm going to do whatever it takes now, even though I have dependency on God. I still have that mentality from the trauma to make sure I'm not going to be homeless again. If it means working two jobs, if it means cutting back expenses to make sure I have a home in a decent neighborhood, is those things that are built in us compared to when if a regular normal, I won't say regular because no one has a perfect family, but a typical posse family with the two parents there and no trauma, they're not so worried about that. It comes, oh, naturally, I'm going to have a home, naturally, compared to the fear that's built in us.
correct. And it was one thing that came up last year with my daughter. Her birthday came, and I had bought her almost like over $500 worth of things. Like had the money to do all of this. My
Mhm.
husband came in, and he had one thing for my daughter, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And
Right.
I was like, "I don't know. I don't even know why I did all of this." And it just made me stop and just pray. I was like, "God, what is wrong with me? Why did I spend all this money? Like I'm like balling to spend $500 on toys." Uh,
Right.
so I was just praying, and God brought back to the memory when I was younger, and my birthday was missed. No one remembered my birthday. And
Mhm.
I had made a law in that time. I will never do that to my child. I will always make sure they feel special. And ever since then, I had overcompensated for my kids on that day.
So your curriculum that your sisters designed is going to blend in with the program My Sisters Keeper Sorority
Correct.
that can educate people and create healthy mindsets
Correct.
on getting rid of past stigma and um, defeating type mentality,
Right.
defense mechanisms we put up.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
this will be done in the sorority format.
Correct. So, in some sororities, they have certain kids or certain people who they accept into the
Mhm.
sorority. For
Right.
me, we're open to all, right?
Open
If
all.
you're willing to do the work between
Mhm.
those ages, then we are willing to accept you to get to that point. The work is the hard part, that
Mhm.
growth mindset. But once you're cognitive, like, man, I didn't even realize I was thinking that way. A lot of us have fixed mindsets because
Mhm.
we have those laws sitting there, And we don't, you look at older people and say, oh, you can't change their mind. They've been doing that for years. But we actually have those same things built off of our trauma.
Okay.
So once you're cognitive of those
Mhm.
things, then you can begin to look at things differently
Okay.
and get exposed to more opportunities.
So it's not the typical sorority, because I don't want people thinking it's a typical sorority. So it's more of a sisterhood organization to help women predominantly, or are men
Okay.
able to?
Just young women.
Young women. Predominantly, is that just between the 16 and 24, the college age ones? I think that's where people really need the foundation there before you go into the real world, in the sense that you're in college, prepare yourself so it doesn't affect you in adult situations. So now, is this going to be based all on, are they going to have any basis of Christ and Christianity in there, or is that more of the secular psychology college curriculum type, faith-based?
I will tell my story, but we're not putting Christian over it. I want them to see the love, and they'll understand who I am, that I'm a believer, and know that it was birth. I'll have the scriptures, Titus 2 and 3 through 5, to let them know that this is where this was birthed, where the older women are to teach the younger women. And also, we have a lot of things, not just growth mindset. First, we have to change your perception so you can be receptive to be coachable. Because at this point, a lot of them are coming in who don't trust. They're not going to let you in. Like in my situation, someone coming to me and saying, hey, you can do this and do that. You don't know my story. I'm not even open to hear you right now. So if we can change your perspective to be receptive, now I can put in a post-secondary assistance for you. Now we can add with your academic growth. Now we can help you with your support systems because you're ready. Because I was behind academically going to college. However, I understood I had life skills where I went to groups and I had to fight. I knew I didn't have anything else. I had to get through school, or what else was I going to do? I had to survive. So we want to help them. We want to give them support. We want to give them care packages. We want to call them while they're there in school to see how they're doing. We want to have a home available. So on those breaks, they have a place to come home. So having that sorority house where they can have Thanksgiving, they can have Christmas, and they don't have to figure it out if they don't want to.
Okay. Now, when students fall start at 18, are there places that they can go to have like a home, are there anything available for them at all?
It is, if they get in a collaborative care in Indiana. In Indiana specifically, they have a collaborative care program. When they're 16, if they can't find any family or anyone else to assist them, then they'll start taking them through the collaborative care program to teach them life skills, to see what pathway they want to go to through college or career. They try to help them get an apartment, get a job, and counseling. They do have those services. Those were things that we didn't have during my time. So they have improved in that specific area. They also have free college education in the state that they're in.
Is that for all states or just predominantly like Indiana?
Well, I know it's for Indiana. I'm not sure if every state have that same law. But I know specifically in Indiana, I was like, well, can y'all grandfather us in there? But now they do
those student loans out.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So now they see it's an issue. So they're trying now, you call it collaborative care, right?
Yes.
Okay. So each state. So if anyone is interested, please check up on your state, what organizations they have possible after foster care that might be available to you now between 16 and 18 to help prepare you for that.
Correct.
Okay. So your organization, in the sense, wants to be similar in the sense that it's not government funded, but it'll be a family situation in the sense that we're all sorority sister. We're all part of this organization. You have a home, you have that connection, and the connection is from either having past trauma or trauma from foster care, and this can be another source for support.
Correct. They get that, direction. We're starting at 16, and so now they have growth mindset. Now they have support services. Now they have mentorship and some guidance. And it just put them on a better path. It gives them a platform now. They have someone they can call. They have care packages sent to them. They got the phone calls, all of the things where you feel you're not connected, or you feel like the outside person, like I did. We're going to provide those things. So it's just another alternative.
Now, do you think the young people would feel more receptive to this because it's not government intervention? It's not the same government that ripped them. I hate to call it government, but it's not the same government organization that ripped them from home, or they've been in foster care, or not being really supportive of all these years. Or will they be more receptive because you're an outside independent organization?
Yes, because they want to get out of the system. They've been in a system, especially if they've been abused or they have had trauma through the system. A lot of them want to get out of the system. And then understanding that, hey, she actually went through what I went through. She understands, it does make them a little bit more open to say, okay, let me hear what she has to say. Maybe she does know what she's talking about. It does make them more receptive. It makes them feel a little bit more safe. But all in all, it's a whole lot of trauma, and it's a whole lot of disappointment.
Right. Now, the mindset curriculum, is that going to be like classes? Is it something they can work on their own, possibly with videos? And will there be more support systems for even like group meetings if they need that also?
Yeah, it's collaborative. It's collaborative. So some things are in group discussion. Some things they'll have them sit in front of a computer and fill some things out. Then we discuss it. And it's just so that they can have a different outlook. And my sister has used it at a couple high schools, and it has worked, and they've seen the growth, and they also have seen those students grow better academically.
Oh, okay, great. So hopefully the program will be not only for people with trauma, but also for just teenagers to 16 to 24 in general, if it can be in the high school.
Okay. Right. It's like a focus.
Well, this has been a great show and a great topic. Unfortunately, we're getting to the near last minute or so of our show. I want to thank you again, Eva, for coming on the show. This is Eva Williams, life coach, and also the founder of My Sister's Keeper, Maxima Sigma Kappa sorority.
Mu Sigma Kappa.
Mu Sigma Kappa sorority. Yes. Okay. We're going to have information online and also posted here, websites and things like that if you need further information. If anyone out there is further wanting to get information on foster care or adoption, please research on the internet. There's Adopt USA Kids. We have other shows on foster care and adoption, including interviews with people who have fostered and adopted. Please check out any organization for if you are a foster student, fostering out and you need help. Please check out any program in your organization and that's in your state, and ask your social worker, caseworker to help. Do not think you're doing this alone. Also use prayer. So I want to thank you again, Eva, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This topic was solutions for life after foster care. Thank you very much. I'm Janice with Why and Why Not. Watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Good night.
Good night.